Hello everybody. Whoa, it's a little echoey in here. I'm gonna have to keep it down. It's Vinyl Richard with the Vinyl Finds. I haven't done a Vinyl Finds in well over a month. I'm in Bakersfield this week. Last week I was in Bakersfield all week, the week before. But those weeks I was with my wife and we were up here getting things done so we can move in. This week I'm up here by myself. And there's been some lollygagging going on, you know. Been listening or watching the Rachel the Music Man's live streams when I can, I mean in between stuff. And then the breaks take longer because I end up watching. And anyways, I recommend, if you haven't watched Rachel the Music Man's live streams, check in, they're pretty good. Sometimes they crash. Other times they just fucking blow up. It's you don't know what you're gonna get. But anyways, there's a record store in Bakersfield, Going Underground Records. It's got a lot of used stuff, way more used stuff than new. It's got a good punk section. There was a record store. There is a record store in LA that the Record Parlor. It had a great punk section. Not so much anymore, you know, not after Rich got hold of it. I mean, it's got good stuff, but a lot of the really good stuff it's long gone now. And I think the same thing's gonna happen to this guy, dude. There's a lot of records there that I want, but this is a big stack, maybe 11 records. I don't normally show that many. It's 4 trips to the same store. I went twice this week actually, and a couple of times previously during the last 5-6 weeks. Anyways, I'm gonna start showing. First one I'm gonna show is Return of the Super Ape. Lee Perry, The Upsetters. I have the Super Ape album. In fact, I featured that in the Gimme 10 back when people were doing the Gimme 10s. 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago at least, yeah. And you know, you show your 10 best albums from a particular year, and I showed the Super 8 in that one year, 70 whatever. This is the Return of the Super 8. The first time I've ever seen this album was a Metal Theologian video that he did, showing funny or cool album covers, and he picked this one. And it is kind of funny. I mean, the way the ape, the way he's leaning, he's got that gangster lean. It's kind of funny, dude. He's holding a big ass joint, you know. The music. Oh, and what made this pop into my mind is Brother Brian was playing this in his garage a month or so ago, and I saw it, and I'm getting this, man. The first song, right off the bat, it hooks you in, dude. It is fucking great. And I don't know if it ever reaches that high point again. I mean, it's a good album all the way through, but that first song, man, it just catches you right in there. Now, we got some used ones. That was a new album, reissue. Sons of the Dolls, Killer Kane Band, Corpse Grinders, Criminals, and the Idols. Killer Kane Band has Arthur Kane in it. The Corpse Grinders, I think, has Arthur Kane in it. The Criminals, I believe, is the one, that has Sylvain Sylvia. And the Idols has Arthur Kane and Jerry Nolan on drums. So, it's stuff after the New York Dolls broke up. But what's really the highlight for me, it's all good stuff. A lot of it sounds like kind of New York Dolls veinish, early Alice Cooper, that early 70s, mid 70s Rolling Stones kind of sound. With the exception of this band here, the Killer Kane Band for me was the highlight of this record. And it's got a Blackie Guzman on guitar and vocals. And he became Blackie Lawless, who went on to Wasp. This dude sings, man, and I've never really listened to Wasp, but this kind of makes me want to hear him, you know, because this guy is good. And then the lead guitarist, Andy J, he's fantastic, dude. Great lead guitarist. But yeah, this is a good album. It's an unofficial release, obviously. I mean, fan club records, that's usually a sign, you know. But yeah, very good. I mean, I was happy with that. Now this next one, this is another guy, Townes Van Zandt, Flying Shoes, on Tomato Records. I've never really heard this guy until the BC. I never paid Townes Van Zandt any mind at all. And I don't even know if I was even aware of the guy until a lot of people in the BC praise him. And I saw this in the used and I sprung for it. It's fantastic stuff. A lot of acoustic guitars and just, it's a singer-songwriter. What I like about it is it's honest. It's just got this genuine, honest feelings. And fantastic, dude. I highly recommend this. And if, I don't know if I've ever seen one of his albums in the used section before. I'm sure his stuff has been reissued, but I don't know. I've never even looked. I don't know where this is on his discography. I believe it's fairly early. Like I said, it's on Tomato Records. I've never heard of that before. And that's what it looks like. Yeah, very cool. Now, Bakersfield might be the best place to find used albums by Buck Owens. And I got this one, Buck Owens, Before You Go. Came out in 1965. It's fantastic. This is in the mid-60s. That's when Buck Owens was at his peak. He couldn't do no wrong. This album is no filler. No filler at all on this. It's just really good. Don Rich is featured on a song. There's a couple of instrumentals. It closes with Charlie Brown. Sounds like that could be corny, but it actually works. Very good album. Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. And this is the inner sleeve. And it's on the the tricolor steamboat. Nah, it's on the Capitol, you know. Oh, fuck. Tricolor steamboat. And I got one more by Buck. Buck Owens and his Buckaroos, Christmas Shopping. I'm not really a Christmas album dude. They kind of bore me, you know. But this one here, I noticed Buck writes all the songs. So I go, how bad can it be? It's not as good as that other album. This came out in '68, I think. This one's a little more polished. I don't know. It doesn't have the grit that other one has. It's a little happy days are here. And you know how I feel about the albums, you know. I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as that other one. And this, on the Rachel Music Man's live streams, you never know who's going to show up. And like I said, sometimes it tanks. And sometimes it's fucking really good. Richard Dolan was on there one day or whatever. And he changed his name now to Van Dolan, which I think is a much better channel name. That's one thing, you know, we'll do on there. You know, someone could look up, man, your channel name, man, it's too long. We need to, and we'll do brainstorming, you know. And Richard Dolan, I didn't know this. He's a big Paul McCartney fan. He met Paul McCartney when he was 9. Now he says that has no bearing on why Paul McCartney is the #1 artist of all time. But I kind of think maybe that's bullshit. When I was a kid, 8 years old, 9, the very first, you know, big name act that I ever saw perform live was Buck Owens. And I saw him up close. He used to play free concerts at Hart Park in Bakersfield. And, I remember those as a little kid, And to this day, Buck Owens is still my favorite country and western artist. So maybe that, that 9-year-old to now connection, maybe there is something there, Talking about another good Bakersfield act, Merle Haggard and the Strangers, Pride in What I Am. This came out in 1969, and this is when Merle Haggard was at his peak. The mid 60s to the late, early 70s, I guess. But this is at the top or echelon of his albums. No filler again, just fantastic. That was one thing about the Bakersfield sound or the Nashville West. A lot of their most of their albums, they didn't put a lot of filler. Not like the stuff that was coming out of Nashville. Nashville would put a couple of hits on a record and then a bunch of throwaway stuff, quite often. And that wasn't the case with the Bakersfield sound. Now back then, Nashville did not really care for Merle Haggard and Buck Owens. I mean, the fans did, but the establishment at Nashville, no. They felt they were taken away, And they actually were adding. But this is a great album. And the Metal Theologian, if there's a guy with a really good mustache, it moves up a couple of notches, Well, this one here, dude, check this out. This album has Bit Bop Boom in it. Come on, man. Who knew that Bit Bop Boom was in Merle Haggard and the Strangers, Now that gives me a bunch of notches up. Man, a Bit Bop Boom in your band, you're moving up, man. And this is a Unipack, which is pretty useless. I mean, if you look at the pictures on here, him fishing and with a horse, it's pretty useless. They could have just put this on the back and this on the front. And I've heard people say, yeah, I've heard some people call these Unipacks. But right here it says, Unipack, patent pending. Well, yeah, that's why they call it Unipacks, because there's a patent on it, Great album. And again, it's on that tricolor Steamboat Capital. You fucking try. And I got a 71 Merle Haggard. This is Hag. Another excellent album. I don't like it quite as much as that other one, but it's still good. It's got songs about like sidewalks of Chicago, song about homelessness. It's got songs about current events. It's kind of a good album. And a lot of people don't like this label, but I do. It's that Green Capital. It was out for, I don't know, a year or two in the early 70s. Maybe started in 69, went to 71, I don't know. Now these next ones, I think all the next ones are all new. I'm gonna start it off with this unofficial release, bootleg, whatever you want to call it. It's the Misfits 1977 to 1984, the singles collection. It's got all the Misfits singles in order they were released and the actual sound. I just did a Misfits video and I didn't show Collection or Collection 2. I have them on CD. I bought them on CD when they came out. And they re-recorded and Danzig added guitars and whatever. This first single, Cough and Cool EP. Glenn Danzig added guitars to that on the collection to make it that more, sound. This is more keyboard heavy and it sounds great. And this is the album that Glenn Danzig needs to release, for heaven's sake, Release an album with all the actual recordings of all the singles. I don't know if it's going to be easy to find this. It's a Japanese unofficial release, but if you do see it and you're a Misfits fan, I would pick it up. The insert has their first 4 7 inches, Their next two 7-inches and then two 12-inches. Great stuff. And they did a pretty good job on the labels. Same thing on both sides. The next one's another unofficial release. Gauze, fuck this. This is their first album. A Japanese hardcore punk band. A lot of the Japanese hardcore punk bands are kind of discharge worship. Really fast, really noisy. These guys, I have another record by these guys, and it's really fast. I mean, super fast. This one, it's got some of that, but it's got more different styles of punk rock on it. And like I said, it's an unofficial release. I don't think many originals were ever made. And this version isn't even in Discogs. Now some brand new official releases. L7, the loser edition of Smell the Magic. I bought this when it came out on CD. That it never was released on vinyl until this actual release. Guess 30 years ago, huh? Yeah. This, if you're an L7 fan, you don't have Smell the Magic, I would highly recommend it. I could say it's their best album, you know. In some ways, this is my favorite L7 album. Fantastic stuff. There was a EP, 4 songs from this was released in Australia with the same cover, but this is the actual full album. Great stuff. Came out in 1990, which is probably, I probably saw them the first time in 89. It was definitely before this one. And he gave me this poster. It wasn't inside the record, but he gave it to me when I went to the counter. And this is what the inner sleeve looks like. It's got some pictures of them at a gig. And I will show the record on this one. It's the loser edition. L7. And that's what the other side looks like. Yeah. Man, come on. It's a good record. Like I said, I maybe consider it my favorite. The next one I got, brand new, Electric Wizard Dope Throne. I have 3 other albums by this band. This is the shrink wrap. I left it intact. I slit one end and real gently take it off because I'm a sensitive guy. For those that don't know, it's a gatefold, but there's not much really going on compared to their other albums. The music's fantastic though. If you don't know Electric Wizard, they sound like Black Sabbath. And they sound like Black Sabbath, how Black Sabbath should have sounded after their first album. Not this Volume 4 bullshit, you know? Great stuff. Black Sabbath worship all the way. And that's one of fans' favorites by this band. And it's on Rise Above Records. And this is what the other side looks like. It's a pretty marbly, white, I don't know, cream colored vinyl. And my last one. Another new album. Hell Bent. 1983, 1984 demos. It's on one of my favorite record labels, Radio Raheem Records. This is a band from New York City, hardcore. They did not have any releases as far as I know. And that's what I love about Radio Raheem Records. These guys went to a studio, recorded some demos in 1983, and they recorded some demos in 84. Never been released until this. And you know, these are the kind of records I live for. This kind of stuff. Stuff that's, you know, lost albums, lost recordings, stuff that, you know, nobody was really interested in. And that and rare psych album reissues, you know. I live for those kind of releases. But yeah, this is fantastic. These dudes rock. And this singer dude, man, he's I don't know if you can see it, but he's got some charisma, dude. He's got stage presence, you could tell. But yeah, this is fantastic. And that's what one side of the label looks like. Little satanic shit going on there, you know. I'm not really big into that satanic bullshit. Some people think it's a joke. I don't. But, you know, whatever. And it comes with this insert. Just a different angle of that same picture on the cover. And just some words and pictures. Some really cool flyers. Oh, check this out, dude. Sam Hain and Hellbent. You know, how cool is that, dude? That's fucking cool. Yeah, some really cool. Hellbent for leather. Anyways, that's it. Take care, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah, the house, the floor's in, the baseboard's in, so we can start moving furniture in. And just, you know, slowly fix the other shit. But whatever. Bye. Take care. I hope the lighting in here's okay. I tried filming this in other spots, but man, it was, because the house is empty, it's so echoey. So I had to set it on in the bathroom. Oh no, it won't turn off.